I can literally call that a worldwide scandal, and we still don't know. Was this an escape? Was this a murder? Was this really an accident? I don't know. Let's discuss. Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel. My name is Gita Lighthouse. In case you didn't know, on my channel I do quite a lot of storytellings. In most cases it's true crime, mysteries, and just simply interesting things that you might not be aware of. Yet it's interesting to know. So, and by this video, I'm kind of marking a new territory. Yeah, I can say it like that. I have decided that it's time to expand and do different topics, not only related to Norway, but also a little bit like broader. I'm going to go also Scandinavia, so there's going to be more of material that I can cover. Let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about that? Because I am pretty excited. But this case, I want to tell thank you to my subscriber Oakley who actually gave me a hint to check into this case. And we still don't know what happened, so let's talk about that. I am talking about the mysterious disappearance of a Dutchman in Norway, Arnjen Kamphuis. Although Arnjen Kamphuis is a Dutchman, he disappeared in Norway, and up to nowadays we still don't know what happened to him. This man was a cyber security expert, he was hacktivist, and he was also associated with the founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange. But let's not jump forward too quickly, let's start everything from the beginning. So, Arnjen Kamphuis was born in 1972, January 26 in the Netherlands. And if he's still alive, he would be in his 50s. I'm saying if he's still alive because we don't know. And so, who is this man and why is he so important? He's an all-round security specialist and did many things, but I'll just mention a couple of things. He was working with news agency Reuters to keep the data of journalists safe. He cleaned the network of the Rotterdam harbor from a serious cyber attack. He gave TED Talk about security where he was very straightforward and open about cybersecurity topics. He also destroyed voting machines and internet voting. He also interviewed U.S. National Security Agency's or NSA whistleblower William Binney. If you don't know NSA, this is a national-level intelligence agency of the United States Department of Defense. He had been in contact with many intelligence services in relation to his work, which means he knew a lot. Maybe too much. So as I mentioned before, he was also participating in a TED Talk where he was covering the topic of cybersecurity, where he said, I quote, "I have trained activists, journalists, and lawyers from around the world, those who need to be able to communicate securely to save lives." In this same speech, he also praised Edward Snowden, and he did so because he himself was very concerned about the worldwide espionage topic. And let me say he was quite brave in this talk, although he was like making it as a joke. So he said, I quote, "Since you are here with all your phones listening to me, the NSA knows this now. If you watch this on YouTube, the NSA knows this now. Sorry." So he made it like a joke, but then it was like, like a little cut. His friends described him as a person who really liked to be out in the nature when he had some time. He usually was doing hiking, walking, and also he was that kind of person who never liked to take like unnecessary risks. He always made sure that everything is safe. And please bear that in mind because it will be a little bit kind of related also to the topic that we are going to reveal a little bit further about his disappearance. Another thing, according to his friends, is that he was very passionate about his work. He really loved what he was doing. He liked to help people with his expertise. So this is like a short intro about who is this person. So as you can see, he is smart. He has a nice personality. However, there are traits that he might not be comfortable for several people, especially those who are like higher ranked. And also he had some relations, as I understood, I guess they were romantic, with a former MI5 intelligence officer. Her name was Annie Machon or Machon. I don't know how to pronounce it. So also that one. And so all the creepy and strange things started when Arnjen decided to go on a trip to Norway. It was like his holiday. So it was year 2018 and he started his holiday on August 8th. What happened there? That's the main question. So the first information that people had about him and his trip to Norway was that he was actually going to Svalbard, you know, the northern part with the polar bears. Yeah. So it's like a very popular tourist destination. It's very attractive. But somehow after the investigation and looking into his travel plans and how he was moving around, somehow he ended up in Bodo. According to the Dutch sources, his travel itinerary was like this. He was supposed to be back in the Netherlands by August 22nd. He already had bought a plane ticket from Trondheim airport to the Netherlands. And maybe he decided, you know, like to stop in Bodo and then take a train from Bodo to Trondheim and then go by plane home. Or we don't know, but yeah, that's the thing that we know. Allegedly, he was last seen in Bodo on August 20th, and he was kind of checking out and leaving the Scandic Hotel in Bodo. It was alleged that he went on a kayaking trip from which he never came back. He just like poof, disappeared in a thin air. And on August 31st, 2018, he was officially reported missing. But this is the place where I'm just gonna remind you that he was not a newbie in nature, in hiking and doing outdoor activities. So this would not be very usual for a person who is used to hike to just simply get lost like that in a kayaking accident. But then again, we cannot predict nature. That's also a thing. But let's just look deeper into this case because more controversy is coming. Believe me, you want to watch this until the end. The Dutch authorities, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and also the local authorities, they reacted to this disappearance since he was an important person and like many knew who he was. So they paid attention to his disappearance and the news stories broke out in the local media. Also, thanks to Arnjen's very good friend. Her name was Ansila van der Leest, because she actually started to talk about that. Like she was the one who rang the bell. Like, my friend has gone. Like, where is he? Also, as I mentioned, Arnjen was very close to WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. He was like an employer for a while for him. And also WikiLeaks official Twitter account posted a photo and information about his disappearance. But the thing is that although the Dutch media was talking about it, the government was talking about it, friends were talking about it, like there was information all around, even like the WikiLeaks tweeted about it, the Norwegian police couldn't do anything. Like they couldn't start the official search just because the Dutch police didn't officially announce Arnjen Kamphuis as a missing person. So it was like bureaucracy thing that stopped Norwegian police to actually start digging into this case. Time was lost with that. And this actually came back as a lot of criticism towards Norwegian police, but it was just like bureaucracy thing. And believe me, I live in Norway and bureaucracy is the thing here. If you don't have the papers, nothing's gonna happen, even if you're like literally dying in front of them. A little bit ironic, sorry for that, but it's the truth. You know, if you say that person is related to WikiLeaks, that might like raise more attention. We should just start doing things. No, we don't have the papers. We will not do that. And actually, police came out with an announcement that even though we do understand that he's an important person, we're gonna treat this case as any other normal case and wait for the papers. Kind of makes sense, but then again, considering who is this person, I don't know, like a little bit controversial. And finally, when all the papers were received and things started to, going like with the investigation. The police also involved Coast Guard because they believe that Arnjen might have had an accident while kayaking in the Saltsdals fjord. Also, they received a lot of help from investigators from other countries, including Dutch investigators who came to Bodo to help the Nordland police. In fact, according to Dutch sources, the countries who were very responsive towards this case were the investigators from Germany, the Netherlands, from Denmark, and of course, like Norwegians themselves. Later, the search actually gives results. They find a kayak that they believe that actually belonged to Arnjen, who was going there on a kayaking trip. And even later than that, like a couple of days later, the police receives a tip from recreational fishermen who noticed that there's something floating in the waters nearby the coast. The police, of course, responded to that tip and they arrived to the place and they collected a lot of different belongings that they believe were Arnjen's belongings. So among those, there was an oar that actually could be used with the kayak that they found before. And also there were some other things like a laptop that had a National Security Agency sticker, power bank, and like many other belongings that like a normal person would have. Just like a question, who takes all of this on a kayaking trip? That's like a question from me. An interesting thing is that while I was like researching this topic, I found a blog where this guy alleged that the fishermen guys who found those belongings were actually like recreational fishermen, but they were in real life truck drivers and they were Eastern European, although in none of the official announcements from the police, it was not mentioned, which was kind of like weird, although, you know, usually when you say Eastern European, you think like, oh yeah, they're Russian spies. But living in Norway, I know that there are a lot of Eastern European people living here as expats, including me. So this might not seem very important to stress so much. So whoever was this blogger, of course, he made a point. So nobody said that they're actually Eastern European. They might have been spies. But then again, there's this other side that you don't know if you don't live in Norway. So just saying. Anyways, even though many things have been found, there was no body, which is like the main thing. Without body, you cannot announce an official death of somebody. So therefore, police moved forward three options what had happened. First of all, there was an accident in the waters while he was kayaking. And that was the thing that, in my opinion, according to all of the sources that I read, the Norwegian police was kind of pushing forward. The second was that Arnjen was hiding somewhere, and this was done on purpose. And the third thing is that something criminal happened here, like he was murdered or like kidnapped or something like that. The police released the photo of the kayak that they found, that they believe that was used by Arnjen. They hope that somebody will come forward with saying that they have seen him using it, or maybe they just have seen Arnjen himself. And in total, the police received more than 80 tips from different sightings, from different people, and it was quite a lot to process. Among those 80 sightings, there was also one report of kind of seeing him in Denmark, but we will get to that a little bit further, because now we're going to look into one real big controversy. So 10 days after Kamhuis was reported as leaving Bodo Hotel, his phone's SIM card made a signal somewhere around the Stavanger area. So it happened on the August 30th. It was like, what? Yeah, what? And later it was specified that it came from Stavanger area in a place called Vikeså. Wait a minute, now I'm confused. Like 10 days after his supposed disappearance, his SIM card works nearby Stavanger. And then the police receives another report from German authorities that this SIM card kind of was changed to a German SIM card later, What is happening here? A spokesperson for the Dutch police in Amsterdam said to NRK that during the past few days, both German and Danish police have been involved in the case. A woman in Denmark is said to have stated that she was certain to have observed Arnjen on September the 3rd. So now it means that August 30th, there was a signal in Stavanger, and September the 3rd, somebody kind of saw him in Denmark. I told you it's gonna be mind-blowing. The police also allegedly found the person who sold the kayak to Arnjen, and he recognized him according to the photos that were like put out for the public. So he kind of recognized his face. That's why he called and said like, yes, I sold him this kayak. And according to him, Arnjen, if it was him, said that he's going for a trip into Norwegian fjords with this kayak. The tips were actually pouring in, so I do understand that maybe the police and the investigators couldn't keep up with it and just follow each and every tip they received, but like we see the main pattern here. His mobile phone SIM card gave a signal in a place called Vikeså in Stavanger, and some witnesses do say that they have seen him there, and he was actually with two other men, and supposedly he was talking in Dutch and German with those guys. At least that was what the witnesses say. But then again, if it was true and if Arnjen was with those two people, whatever language they were speaking, who were these people? Why were they there? Were they just like politely chatting with him? Like, you know, oh, I'm Dutch. Oh, I'm also Dutch, you know, something like that. Or they were just doing some things like business or whatever. Like maybe they were involved in like helping Arnjen to escape something. Another interesting tip was that Arnjen might have left Bodo like secretly by means of a cargo ship. So he was like secretly getting on the ship and leaving Bodo. According to the Coastal Administration's Coastal Maps info called Kustinfo, there was actually one ship who was there during the time when Arnjen was disappearing. This ship was traveling under a Dutch flag, which kind of rings a bell. He left the coast on August 24th at 1756, and he was traveling, the ship was traveling up south past Stavanger, and then at the end he was docking in Bremerhaven in Germany. And he was there on the August 29, which kind of makes sense if we think about how the things were happening with his SIM card, Stavanger, and then Germany. Do you follow? On October 2018, one of Arnjen's friends actually had an interview with Norwegian television, and he actually said that he does believe that Arnjen might be alive somewhere. And I quote, "I'm absolutely sure that he is alive somewhere. When he gets home, I'll give him a hug, and then I kick the balls for what he's done to us." You can see that this disappearance was unexpected. Even like his best friends didn't know anything about this. This friend also revealed that, yes, they did have conversations about Arnjen's trip to Norway, and he was like very passionate about going exactly to Svalbard because he really wanted to see the polar bears. In none of these conversations, he was mentioning that he would stay in Bodo at any time. That being said, many people started to speculate that maybe Arnjen was scared by something or someone, and this is why he decided to just hide. Then there were also some options out there mentioned that maybe Arnjen had some mental problems and maybe he felt disassociated or, I don't know, like paranoid, and that's why he was like kind of escaping something. Then others were speculating that maybe he had some financial problems and this is why he decided to disappear. Although one of his friends, remember Ansila, who rang the bell when he disappeared and was very involved into like searching for him. She said that this could not be the case for sure, because many confirmed that Arnjen was in a very good mood before he left to Norway. He had no financial problems. In fact, he had a lot of work assignments and his business was doing very well, and he had a lot of plans for the autumn already, and he had a nice apartment in Amsterdam. So his life was completely fulfilled. If it's even possible for a person. But I mean, he wasn't depressed or there weren't any signs of that. So I don't think that this was the case. And another thing that kind of doesn't make really sense for me is like, before I also mentioned that he liked nature, hiking and walking. So he wasn't a newbie in the nature exploration topic. His friend Ancilla said that now and then when he felt like he has been overloaded with work and stuff and he needs a break, he usually was doing these solo trips where he was just like him and the nature without computers, phones and anything, like, you know, like digital detox, how they're calling it right now. Yeah. So he was quite often doing these solo trips and it was quite normal for him. So then again, people were informed that he's going on this digital detox and he's going solo, he's going somewhere by the nature, and people knew where he was. And when he's going to come back, it wasn't like this time when he just simply disappeared without giving a sign to anyone who cared about him. And now at the end, the main question, how did this case ended? If it even ended. Well, the Norwegian police concluded that Arnjen Kamphuis most likely died in an accident in a Skjærstad fjord near Rognan, and it happened on the eve of the 20th August 2018. So that's the official announcement. But wait a minute. How about the SIM card and the signals that were like caught after the 20th of August? There is no real basis for that, no real explanation, not even from the police, although it's obvious that something was happening after the 20th of August when he kind of supposedly died in this accident. And honestly, I don't think that I will be very popular with my opinion that this case is definitely not solved. There are just too many questions, and I don't believe that it was an accident. If it was an accident, where is the body? I will not stop asking this question, where is the body? Because, okay, they can say that you can just push the body out in the sea and it disappears there and never comes back. But then again, of course, he had some clothes, and it cannot be just like a kayak, an oar, and laptop and power bank that they found, and that's it, and nothing else is coming up during all of these years in the waters. I don't really believe in that. His friends and his colleagues said that they don't believe that it is actually related to the WikiLeaks, because, you know, Arnjen was a former employee of WikiLeaks, and to a certain extent, I also do believe that it might not be related to that, because I think the fact that he was a former employee of WikiLeaks was just very massively used by media to make like those titles, you know, like former WikiLeaks person is disappeared and stuff like that. I don't think that that could be the case, but, you know, who knows? Then another thing that really comes into our minds, and I'm sure also popped in your mind, was there a murder? Well, let me tell you this, what I'm thinking. There is no doubt that he had relation and connections with very important high-ranked people, and there might be some people who didn't really like his activities, you know, like the cyber protection and, you know, like keeping safe all of the information from journalists. And not only, he had like connection with intelligence and stuff. There might be some people who didn't like him and just wanted to get rid of them. But if some, let's say, decided to get rid of him, they would most probably take a professional person, like a professional murderer who does the job to get rid of Arnjen. But I don't believe that this is the case, just because, again, there is no body. Because if there was a professional killer, and I'm not a professional killer, and I understand that if you want to get rid of somebody, you make it look like an accident in a very believable way. So if there was like a murder, they would most probably make this kayak accident very realistic, with also a body that they could find and just say, oh yeah, he drowned. Also, sorry, he died. And case closed, they got rid of the person. By this, if a killer kills him and doesn't leave the body, there are just too many open ends and too many questions that can be looked into. So I don't believe that a professional murderer would do something like that. He would just do his job, like chop a piece of bread. And that's done. No more further questions. But here, there are just too many questions. Professionals wouldn't do like that. I'm not one, but I do understand that this wouldn't be the case. What I believe quite to a large extent is that Arnjen actually had an escape plan. Like, maybe all of his career was very overwhelming with the things that he was dealing and seeing and knew. And I think that he had planned this all in advance because let's be honest, he's a very intellectual and very smart person. He made up this feeling around him that, oh, I'm going to Svalbard to see polar bears, but in fact he was going to Bodo where he was trying to realize his plan. And maybe he was actually escaping with this cargo ship that I mentioned before. Maybe he was with the cargo ship ending up in Germany. Maybe he was even in Denmark, but maybe all of that was just planned, with the signals and stuff, because we know he knows a lot about technology. So someone might have been just carrying around his phone SIM card so that we are misled about his whereabouts. That's what I'm thinking, guys. And of course, the kayaking accident, that was also something just to draw attention away from his escape. And, there is not just trains and airplanes and cargo ships. There's also cars, and there are other directions where a person can go. So maybe with all of these things that we all know with his SIM card and where he was supposedly seen, he can just send somebody who just looks like him. Again, yeah. But he can just simply get into a car and go somewhere the other direction and be somewhere completely different place than we are now imagining that he was. And I kind of, to a certain extent, want to believe that he's alive and he's okay. Maybe he's somewhere working, at the backstage of everything. Now that he has disappeared, he has a lot of advantages to interact with intelligence services and stuff. Or maybe he has just now disappeared since he knows a lot of things about cybersecurity. He knows how to delete a lot of personal data and everything. So he's just a ghost. He lives somewhere peacefully enjoying his life without any stress and no relation to all of these dirty things happening in the governments and espionages and stuff. That is my opinion. What do you think? This is a very, very, very exciting case. I could talk about it hours and hours and hours. So let me know in comments, what are your thoughts about this case? How do you think? Is he alive, or he was just lost there in the accident with the kayak? Of course, if you love this story, subscribe to the channel. I promise there's gonna be more. And a little secret, I'm just thinking maybe I should start my own podcast, but I'm not sure about that. Also, write in comments, how do you think? Should I do it or not? Would you be listening? That being said, I hope you enjoy your day. Stay happy, stay positive. Christmas is coming! And I hope you are in a Christmassy mood already. I am, although I'm missing snow. In Bergen, there is no snow. I really want some snow because, white snow, it makes everything just a little bit brighter. Anyways, I love you all. See you next time.